Hey, I'm Professor Cade. Thanks for joining me for another lesson. Now, I'm going to say from the top, unless you're a teacher or a student, this lesson is not going to be for you. So we are talking about the basics of setting up an MLA formatted paper. We're going to look at this both in Google Docs and in Microsoft Word.
It's thrilling.
Hey man, don't knock this. This might be the easiest thing I ever teach you, so you definitely don't want to get this wrong. And really, this is how I view MLA issues when I'm grading students' papers. If you can't take the time to get the simple stuff right, I don't have a lot of confidence that you've taken the time to get the more complicated stuff right. Okay, but we're going to get more into that later. For now, let's just jump into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to start with Google Docs. Now, what we're going to do is jump onto our screen. I'm going to just pick a folder. This is my old school file. I'm going to grab a folder just so I can find it easier later. Okay, so we are going to come up here to New. We are going to create a new Google Doc. So the first thing that we are going to do is change our font. Okay, Google Docs defaults us to Arial. We are going to change that to Times New Roman. Okay, then we are going to change our font size. We are going to increase that to 12. Times New Roman, size 12. Okay, after that, we are going to insert our page number at the top. So we're going to slide up here to the top, click Insert, navigate down to Page Numbers. This upper left one here is the one you want to select with the numbers in the upper right-hand corner of each page. If your teacher wants you to do a title page for your essay, then this is the one you're going to select. You're not going to have a page number on that first title page. But title pages are not typically used for MLA, so usually this is going to be your choice. Okay? Now, before you click anything else, while your cursor is still located up here, arrow over once to the left and type your last name. Okay? Last name, space, page number. No comma, no dash, no nothing. If I remember correctly, like 15 years ago, MLA used to require a hyphen in there. They don't do that anymore. Okay, so just last name, page number. Now, after that, we are going to adjust our format. So we'll click outside of there and head back up to the navigation bar, click Format. Gonna go down to line spacing. Defaults to 1.15. We're gonna slide down to double. We are double spaced now. Then we are going to go ahead and build our header. Now, before we build the header, I want to mention this that we're about to do should only appear on the first page. Sometimes students like to try to build their header up here in the actual header here, and then it puts it on every page. Okay, we don't want that. So in your header, the first thing that should appear is your name. Okay, and let's just go ahead and do this here. Your name. Now, the next thing that should appear is your teacher's name. Okay, so this would look like this, Professor Cade Hagen, okay? After your teacher's name, you are going to put the class, okay? So this would look like English 101, or English 8 Accelerated, or maybe AP Language, whatever that looks like, okay? Course name. Okay, after this, we are going to put the date. Now, I recommend when you are building this page, you don't just write date. We are going to actually write a date so that you remember how to format it later when you are using this template. Okay, now to write the date on an MLA paper, we're using the international format. Okay, so the way that looks, first thing, we have the day of the month. Okay, so today is the 29th. Next is the month of March. Next is the year. Okay, 29 March 21. This should not look like that. Okay, so that's how you format the date. From there, we are going to hit return once, and then we are going to go to center our text. Okay, and my screen is kind of zoomed in, so you probably won't have to hit the ellipsis. In fact, let's zoom out a little bit. Is my ellipsis still there? Ah, whatever. Okay, so we are centered for our title. Now, your title should be an actual title. This shouldn't be writing assignment 1, okay? This should be something that actually indicates what your paper is, something related to your thesis, okay? But we'll talk more about titles later. All right, so let's just put your title here. Now notice that my title is not bolded, it's not underlined, it's not italicized, It's not bigger than everything else, okay? My title looks just like the rest of it. Okay, no extra spaces here, no nothing. Title looks just like the rest. Now, hard return, we are gonna move back to the left aligned here, and we are going to tab indent. Our indents should be 1/2 inch. Both Google Docs and Word default to this, so this shouldn't be an issue, okay? Then you are going to begin writing your essay here, okay? Now, just one thing I want to show you, because this is a common issue that I see with the formatting, is when you move on to your next paragraph, hard return indent, note that there is no extra space between these paragraphs. Now, this is not usually an issue for Google Doc papers, but Microsoft Word, there is an issue with extra spaces here, okay? But I want to point it out here too. No extra space. Now, from here, what you are going to do is come up here to the top, rename this MLA template, okay? MLA template. Click elsewhere, and now we can just close this out. So when you need to write an essay, you're going to go in, grab this MLA template, and then you are going to make a copy of it. File, make a copy. Then in this new file, you're going to title it whatever the title of your essay is, okay? Don't title these writing project 4, writing assignment 3, anything like that. You want to be able to access them later because you might have written something that you want to use for some later paper. You might have some idea that you want to expound on for something, okay? So you want to be able to locate these later. Okay, so you're going to rename it, open up your new paper here. My computer's moving slowly. And now you have your template built, you know exactly what you need to do. So you're gonna populate it with all this stuff, teacher's name, blah, 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 and you get the idea. Now, that's how to do it in Docs. Now let's take a look at Microsoft Word. Okay, so we're gonna close all of this out. Then we are gonna come over to here. And in Word, first thing that you're gonna do is open up a blank document, okay? Now, we're just gonna go through all the same steps. First thing that we're gonna do, change the font style, or the font type, okay? We're gonna scroll down here to Times New Roman. Next, we are gonna change the font size to 12. I just clicked this little font size up button, okay? After we've done that, we are gonna insert the page number. So, same thing. This is all looking very similar. Insert page number. Why am I not finding it? There we are. Okay, top of page to the right. Plain number 3 all the way on the right. Now, this is where things change a little bit, okay? So we'll go ahead and write our name the way that we did last time. But note, this is not Times New Roman, okay? So in Word, for some reason, it doesn't apply whatever font you've selected to the header. We have to change the header font on its own, okay? So what I do is I just hit Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac, and you're gonna go to, that just selects all. That's a really handy shortcut to know if you're not familiar with it. So you're gonna grab all that text, come up here, and then change that to Times New Roman, size 12, okay? Now, just a brief note, I will never mark a student down for not doing this. If the header is in Calibri or Arial or whatever it is, I'm not gonna mark that down, I don't care. But if I see that a student has taken the time to actually update the font style up there, I notice that they're paying attention to their paper. And that signals to me right from the beginning that they took this seriously, okay? So, moving on back into here. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different. There are different ways to do this. This is the easiest. So, to double space, select anywhere in your paper here. You're gonna right click, okay? Or on, if you're using a touchpad, it's just a double 2-finger tap or whatever you have yours set to. Okay, so you're gonna right click, slide down to paragraph. 2 things in paragraph. We are gonna check this box. This is super important. Remember when I was talking about Google Docs where I said pay attention to that extra space between paragraphs? This is where we fix that. So select this box. Don't add space between paragraphs. Then we're gonna come over here to line spacing. Select that and drop it down to double, okay? Double line spacing, don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. So now we're gonna build the header and it's gonna look exactly as it did in Google Docs. We're gonna start with your name. I'm gonna write name, we're going to write teacher name, we're going to write course name, and we're going to write date. But again, I recommend that instead of date, you actually just plug a date in there, just so you remember how it should look. Okay, so after we have our header, we are going to come down here, again, center our text, write our title, return again, and head back over to left aligned. Okay, then we indent, and we have our essay there. Now, one more thing I want to just briefly show you, because we talked about that extra space in between paragraphs. I want to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so we see this is what it should look like. Okay, so I'm just going to grab everything. And again, that's just Control A or Command A if you're on a Mac. I'm going to go back into my paragraph options. Okay, and I'm going to uncheck this box. Now, you see how in between everywhere where I put a hard return, there's an extra space there. Look at in between this paragraph here, okay? We don't want those extra spaces, okay? So we're gonna go back in here and check that box again. That's gonna squish everything together just as it should be. Then we're gonna go to File, Save, and once again, we are gonna save this as an MLA template. Okay, then when you want to write your essay, you're going to open up your MLA template, you're going to go to File, Save As, you're going to save it as whatever your title is, okay, save, and then same thing we did in Docs, you're just going to begin writing your essay here, and everything is formatted for you. Okay, so that's it, we got the basics out of the way. Now, if you're like me and you're seeing all of these little super specific details that you have to get right, you're probably thinking, why? Why do I have to deal with all of this nonsense? Can't I just write my name and write the paper? Okay, I feel for you because that's what I care about too. I care about the content. I don't care about the nitty-gritty like this, okay? Now, the official reason that it's there is it prevents plagiarism, it standardizes submissions so that it's easier on graders' eyes, all of that good stuff. I don't care about any of that. In my experience, if you're going to plagiarize, understanding MLA is not going to keep you from plagiarizing. It might keep you from accidentally plagiarizing, but I don't care about accidental plagiarism. I care about intentional plagiarism, okay? And that's not what this deals with. Now, in my class, MLA serves as the brown M&M. The brown M&M? Okay, yeah, fair enough. I guess I should explain, okay? So there used to be this band called Van Halen, and it's weird to have to say this band called Van Halen instead of just Van Halen, but I found that most students don't know what I'm talking about. So there was, in the 80s, there was this big band called Van Halen, okay? And they would put on these major productions for their concerts. And most concert stages were not really equipped to deal with this. Now, Van Halen became a little bit notorious and got this reputation as being sort of prima donnas, because in their contract with concert venues, in the very center of it, it would have a detail that would say there had to be a bowl of M&Ms backstage, and there could be absolutely no brown M&Ms in that bowl. If there were any brown M&Ms, the band had the right to cancel the entire show and book, and all payment was canceled. Now, everybody thought that they were insane. This is the most specific detail. Why should anybody care about this? So what this enabled the band to do was determine whether the concert venue people read the contract. If there were brown M&Ms in that bowl, that means they didn't read the contract. And that meant that there was a good chance that the stage was not properly equipped to deal with all of their stuff. Now, that's how I view MLA issues. If you have all kinds of problems in your header, if your font's off, if you're not double spaced, any of that kind of thing, that's a brown M&M. I don't actually care about brown M&Ms, but that also tells me that you didn't pay attention to the more important issue. So that's why it's so important to take the time to get this right, because like it or not, English teachers are not math teachers. In an essay, you're not necessarily just right or wrong. Okay, grading papers is a subjective business. So you want to communicate to whoever is grading your paper that you took it seriously. And having perfect MLA is an excellent way to do that. And that's it, Formatting MLA Basics. I hope that you learned something, and if you did, do me a favor and hit the like button. And if you like the way that I teach and think you might be able to learn more from me, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my weekly uploads.